Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel, and welcome to the start of our 2026 AFL season previews. Throughout the month of February, we are going to be doing a season preview of every single club in the competition. Starting Adelaide, we're working our way alphabetically through the competition. If you check out the social medias, All Aussie Rules, hopefully I've put up the dates that they all will be coming out. But we're starting with Adelaide, working our way through. We're going to be having a look at their last season, a look at their last few years, just how they're kind of progressing or degressing, I guess. Then we'll have a look at like a depth chart for each position, best 23, and we'll round it out with a little look at this year's fixture, giving our thoughts and opinions as we will work our way through. Probably 20 to 25 minute video, hopefully, is the plan. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, Adelaide Crows 2026, we're going to go through everything you need to know about the Crows heading into the year. Obviously, this is being recorded in January, so like there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge in terms of pre-season. There's a lot of injuries that can happen still, but this is up-to-date knowledge as we have it when recording. So let's move into it. Let's jump into what we have for you today and see what we can find out and what we can give you. Just a little summary of Adelaide's season last year. As everyone probably remembers, they jumped right up the ladder, ended up being minor premiers, ended up after finals dropping down to fifth, obviously straight sets defeat after losing qualifying final against Collingwood and semi-final against Hawthorn. Home and away, though, it was fantastic. 18 wins, 5 losses. Is a really, really good season, including finals there. 96 points per game for, which is the third most in the competition. 72.6 points against was the second best in the competition. So that tells you everything you need to know about their home and away season mainly. They were very, very good at what they did. They didn't concede too many. And they scored pretty well. So a really good season, especially after the probably 3 or 4 years that they'd had before. Me personally, I thought 2024 they were going to bounce up the ladder a bit, but we didn't get that. They kind of really struggled to get their season going early season 2024. They managed to turn that around in 2025. They came out pretty well and kind of just progressed throughout the season and got maybe slightly better throughout as well. And were looking good, but it got to finals and they just didn't quite have enough in the tank, I guess, in the end to win those 2 home finals, which is disappointing for sure after finishing top of the ladder throughout the home and away season. But in the grand scheme, it was their first time making finals in 8-10 years, whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. So learning experience. They're still a very young team. If they can keep fit, keep healthy, there's no reason why they can't go making finals again and having a really good opportunity. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's basically a little summary of last year. They were very good when they were very good. Unfortunately, maybe let themselves down just a little bit in those last couple games. But there's still plenty to work on from everything we saw last year. This is their last 5 seasons. As you can see, it was 5 years of quite poor football. All 4 seasons there, but more before that. Heading into last year, which was a big improvement. So 15th, 14th, 10th, 15th, and then up to 1st. 2023, they showed some good work. I mean, finishing 10th on the ladder this year, that would be enough to make it into a playing game, which is funny enough. Hadn't gone positive in any of those 4 seasons and then just jumped up the ladder last year with a really, really good season. 18 and 7's obviously post finals. It was 18 and 5 during the home and away season. So, I mean, a big improvement. There's no doubt about it. They definitely improved in 2025. Can they improve on 18 wins in the home and away season? Probably not. You'd think that they're probably going to struggle to be minor premiers again. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. But I think the main thing for them is trying to set themselves up with as good opportunity going into finals, with as healthy a list, and some good form. And who knows? Obviously, they did have some issues with some players not being available for finals. One player in particular, but last year. So we'll see how it plays out for them this year. But there's no reason why they should drop off from last year's performance. So this is a look at their ins and outs throughout the off season so far. In comes a couple one senior player, Callum Archie, coming across from Brisbane, who they get for free in the end because Brisbane didn't want to do the trade, so they get him from the pre-season draft, which is an absolute steal for Adelaide. That is huge. So they bring him in, and also Finbar Malley is a trade from North Melbourne, so he's only played a handful of games. I wouldn't be expecting too much from him just yet, but we'll see what happens going in the future. Couple draft picks, Mitch Marsh, not the cricketer, not to be confused with the Australian cricketer, but pick 22, they got him. And then pick 50, they took Archie Ludovic. So they also got one other player from the rookie draft, which was Indy Cotton. So 5 ins, a few outs, a couple of retirees, Matt Crouch and Brodie Smith both retired. And then the rest were delisted. So Chris Burgess, Carl Gallagher, Lachlan Murphy, Harron Schellenberg, and Kieran Strawn all delisted. The only one there, Harry Schellenberg, has been picked up by West Coast. I think the rest are all not on AFL lists at time of recording. So that's the changes. I mean, Matt Crouch and Brodie Smith were getting on, so it's not massive outs there. Certainly the rest were delistings. And then bringing in Callum Archie, he'll certainly be an interesting add to this team. And how he kind of finds his role in this team will be interesting. He can play a variety of roles. Obviously, can play that forward role when needed, but Adelaide are probably pretty stacked in that position. So whether they have him on the wing a bit more, we'll wait and see, I guess, throughout the 2026 season. Sorry, but that's the ins and outs. We'll now jump into our depth chart. So this is using the last year's ratings. If you check the top corner of the screen, just has the colour ratings. So elite is the top 10% of players for that position. Blue, which is top class, is 10 to 25%. Green is above average, so that's 25 to 40%. Yellow is orange. Yellow is average, which is 40 to 60%. Orange is below average, so 60 to 100. Red means they didn't play last year, but were on the list. And then pink is, there's none on the screen at the moment, but they're rookies, so people that were drafted this season. General defenders, I mean, they're solid across the board without being fantastic. Rory Laird was really, really good last year in that elite range. Wayne Malira in the above average. They probably want... I mean, Mitchell Hinge is just behind him, one position, but drops down into the average category. And Max Michaelani is also very, very close there as the 45th best. If they can get like Mitchell, Hinge, and Wayne Malira slightly improved on that into an average rating of 90, that would be huge for them, I think. They're clearly their best 3 in that range. Max Michaelani is their 4th general defender, I guess, probably the bench option. Hugh Bond, we haven't seen a heap of unranked because he didn't play 6 full games last year. But probably need to see a bit more from him. And then a couple players that didn't play in Oscar Ryan and Charlie Edwards. Key defenders, I think they're really, really in a good position here. Josh Worrell was fantastic and in a lot of ways unlucky not to be All-Australian in 2025. He was absolutely fantastic. He ended up 5th best key defender in our rating system. So he's another elite player. So elite players, 2 elite players in the back line for Adelaide to start with. Mark Keane also really highly rated in the top class category. So he's in the top 25%. Is fantastic. And then their third option between Nick Murray, Jordan Butts, and James Bourlet, pretty similar numbers across the board for them. all three of them. But as the third option, pretty solid. When you've got two really good ones in Josh Worrell and Mark Keane, so their backline's pretty solid. You just kind of want to see an improvement in maybe the third key defender and a slight improvement from second and third general defenders, and probably Max Michelani as well as the fourth general defender. Next up, we head to the forward line, starting with the general forwards. So this is based on last year's numbers. Josh Rochelli's there at number 5 as an elite player. It looks like he's probably going to get a lot more midfield time come 2026, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I've got him at the moment as a general forward in the best 23 when we get to that as well, because I made these before pre-season. It does look like he's getting quite a bit of midfield time in the pre-season match sims and stuff, so we'll see if that plays out, but he's certainly someone that could move into that midfield role and maybe really take off as a season this year for him. We'll see how that plays out. Ben Keys, Alex Neil-Bullen, both in the top class category, both fantastic years last year. Now, Neil-Bullen was actually slightly down last year. I think he was top 5 the year before in his last year at Melbourne. Obviously, last year was his first year as a Crow. They're really stacked in this position because Callum Archie, as we mentioned, also moving into that sort of position as well. Maybe not his best season in 2025, but still really good to have 4 players there that are in the top 42. They're really, really quite comfortable there. Braden Cook didn't get much action last year, less than 6 full games. Luke Pedler and Zach Taylor were not hugely highly rated last season, in their ratings at least. Their key forwards, this is a position that they're quite well stacked at compared to most teams in terms of talent, but also in terms of numbers. They just keep drafting more and more potential key forwards. Doesn't mean they will find their way as a key forward. They might change position, might go back, they might do other things, but they certainly have plenty of potential here. But obviously Taylor Walker's probably down to his last year or two in the competition, you'd think. Riley Thilthorpe was the second highest rated key forward last season behind Sam Darcy. He does his role really well. He back up rucks. He is a lead up forward at times. He can bully his opponent in the one-on-one contest as well. There's not a lot he can't do. He's had a fantastic year last year. He's still very young, so he's looking forward towards a really good future and a really good pillar for this Adelaide forward line over the next 5 to 10 years. Taylor Walker, as we mentioned, getting close to the end. Still had a really solid year last year. Ended up in the above average category. 18th highest rated. So they've got 2 in the top 18, which is really solid numbers. Darcy Fogarty, perhaps not his best season. He had a few good games here and there throughout the year, but had a few quiet ones as well. Ends up 31st. But as your third best key forward, that's still pretty good numbers. As we mentioned, they bring in Finbar Malley from North Melbourne. He didn't play a lot of football, showed some okay signs, so we'll see how he progresses when given the opportunity. Obviously, they're thinking more in the future in that regard once maybe Taylor Walker leaves or retires. As we mentioned, drafted 2 more potential key forwards in Mitch Marsh and Archie Ludowick. And then obviously Tyler Welsh, who was drafted the year before but didn't get a game last year. So he's also a potential player that over the next year or two could be looking at trying to get some game time. So that key forward line at the moment is pretty stacked for Adelaide. They have plenty of competition for positions. We'll see how that plays out over the next 12 months or so. Next up, we have the rucks. I'll just move my camera so you can see it a little bit better. Oh, the midfield, sorry. Midfield and rucks. Inside mids, Jordan Dawson had probably his best career year last year. He was actually, in our Brownlow voting, the highest vote getter in our Brownlow prediction by 1. Didn't win the Brownlow, but still did really well on that night. Ends up as the 5th highest rated inside mid throughout the season. Was absolutely fantastic. Ends up elite in the competition. Isaac Rankin Can go forward at times, plays a lot of inside mid time. He's an absolute star. Misses the first game, I believe, of this season, so we'll see how that plays out for him and for Adelaide, but we all know why he's missing. But he'll be back round 2, I believe, so we'll see him come back into the team and be a key part of this midfield/forward group for Adelaide. James Peatling in his first year at the Adelaide Crows, coming across from GWS, was really solid last year. Didn't put up amazing numbers, but he was struggling to get game time at GWS, and he comes across and played pretty much every game. I think maybe missed a couple throughout the year, but was really quite consistent. Jake Saligo, his best is absolutely outstanding as a contested ball winner. I think he needs to move up a bit higher in these ratings, maybe pushing at least into the top 40% you'd want to see from him. I think he's well and truly capable of that. His best games have been fantastic over the last couple of seasons. There's just a little bit of inconsistency in that at times. He's still very, very young though, so we'll see probably improvement from him. Sam Berry was solid enough. So ranked 77 as your 5th best midfielder. That's pretty good. And Sid Draper didn't even get 6 full games. I think he played in 10, but he was the starting sub or subbed out most of those games. He looks like he's going to be very, very good in the future. Obviously, last year was his first season on the list after being drafted. The year before, quite high in the draft. So I think this year we'll probably see a bit more of him and potentially see him really step up into this role in the midfield for Adelaide. Outside mids, Dan Curtin was a huge improver last year. It's just his second year of playing games, and he was absolutely fantastic. Arguably was in the conversation for Rising Star. I think it rightly went to Murphy Reid in the end, but he was certainly in that conversation. As an outside mid, he was really, really good. 9th highest rated outside mid in the competition last year, which puts him in the top 25% of that position. Really, really solid from him. Isaac Cumming coming across from GWS was solid without putting up massive numbers. But I think we'll see an improvement on that this year. I would imagine we'll probably see a rating of somewhere around about 85 in our system this year, which would be a huge improvement and probably put him in at least that above average category, maybe pushing towards top class. Lachlan Scholl, Billy Dowling and Chase Jones all were unranked, didn't play a huge amount of football. Nankervis, he was ranked 41st as an outside mid. All 4 of those players kind of similar sort of rating last year. They're depth players at the moment. I can't see any of them breaking into the best 23 just yet. How their team lines up at least. Doesn't mean they won't find a way into the team if they have a really good pre-season or put some really good form together in the SANFL, but at the moment I don't see any of those 4 pushing for selection. Riley O'Brien, obviously he's their number 1 ruck. He was the 10th highest rated ruckman last year, above average category. It's pretty solid numbers. You know what you're going to get from him. He's in for an interesting year this year, obviously, with the ruck changes. I don't think the ruck rule changes are going to benefit him too much. Probably hurt him a little bit, in all honesty, but we'll see how that plays out. Lachlan McAndrew, tall ruck, who's probably second on their list of rucks if Riley O'Brien's not available, and Toby Murray probably third. Which moves us to the best 23. I'll just move the camera so that you can see the full 23. We'll start in the forward line. It's a solid team. Like, this is basically the team that finished top of the ladder last season. Like, they won the minor premiership. I just noticed that there is a typo on that screen, which is Callum Archie is obviously a C Archie, not S Archie on the interchange bench. Forward line, really solid. I mean, Rochelle is looking like he's probably going to get a lot more midfield time in 2026. But we'll see where he fits into that, because obviously Dawson, Rankin and Saligo are all very good midfielders as well. So maybe he's just that 4th rotation in there. We'll see. But forward line, Rochelle, Keys, Neil Bullen as your smalls, Walker, Thilthorpe, and Fogarty as your talls. It's pretty really solid forward line. You can't go too wrong with those six. I don't think it's one of the better six-man forward lineups you're going to see in the competition this year. I think. Your midfield, so you got your ruck, Riley O'Brien, obviously, Jordan Dawson, Rankin, and Saligo as your inside mids. All really good. Saligo, that contested ball winner, Dawson, the class, Rankin, the absolute class finishing ability. Rotates forward as well. Probably, maybe they split his time with him and Rochelle forward and mid. We'll see. The two wings, obviously, Dan Curtin was fantastic last season, and Isaac Cumming. The first year for Crows was solid. I think they would like to see a little bit more from him this year. The back line, it's solid. They've got obviously the ones that were really good last year in Worrell and Laird. They're still really solid across the lineup there. The Smalls, Laird, Malira, Murray, and Hinge, and then Keane, Worrell, Murray as well. And then bench, I've gone Peatling. Obviously, he gets games. Sam Berry, Calamarchi should be in their top 23. Sorry if you can hear the rain. It's just absolutely started teaming down. Max Michael Lanny and Sid Draper as the fourth and fifth on the bench. Obviously, this season there are 5 on the bench, so that's going to be interesting to see. See how that shapes up, I guess, going forward, and how teams kind of play that, whether they chuck an extra tall in, whether they use it as an extra runner, or whether they kind of just save it as a sub. I don't see that being beneficial. I think rotating your 5 players, it's a lot, but we'll see what happens, I guess, with that. There's plenty of other Adelaide Crows players that will be pushing for selection. The 6 emergencies I've got, it's not on this screen, but we've got Jordan Butts, Finbar Malley as probably next in line as a key forward. Zach Taylor, Braden Cook, Billy Dowling, Lachlan McAndrew as the next ruckman behind Riley O'Brien. So that's how I see the Crows lining up as their best 23 at the moment. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments section below. I'm always interested to hear your opinions. And yeah, we can have a chat about it in the comments if you like. Moving forward, last thing to look at is a little look at their fixture for 2026. So first of all, at the top there, 11 home games, 10 away games, 2 neutral games. So the 2 neutral, I think I've spelled that wrong, but don't mind that. The 2 neutral games are the 2 showdowns. I was about to call them derbies. The 2 showdowns against Port Adelaide, obviously. 11 home, 10 away. So that it's the standard distribution for a South Australian team. 5 games in Victoria, 13 games in South Australia. They're 11 home and they're 2 neutral. 2 Western Australian visits, 1 New South Wales, 1 Queensland, and they head down to Tassie for Hawthorn again this year. No Northern Territory or ACT trips. Their buys, opening round is their first buy, and then round 12 they have another buy. And the teams they play twice in 2026. 2 top finishing teams, Geelong 2nd, Collingwood 3rd. Then 2 middle range teams in Fremantle 8th, Western Bulldogs 9th. And then the other 2 are the good ones for them. Port Adelaide, they play twice every year. And Richmond, who were 17th last year. So that's their ladder position next to them from last year, post-finals. Using our very, I don't know, I was going to say sophisticated system, but maybe it's not. Using the system that we kind of did to work out draw difficulty at the end of, using when the fixture was released. They came up as the 9th hardest draw. That's using home ground advantage, using who you're playing, where you're playing in them, all that sort of stuff. And they came up as the 9th toughest draw. Read into that what you like. I'm sure some people have differing opinions. They certainly don't have the hardest draw for a team that finished first. I know they've got 2nd and 3rd, but there are teams that are playing 3 top 4 teams. They're only playing 2, so it's not going to be the worst draw of all time. They certainly shape up like they should be a top 4 team again this year from the home and away season, you'd think, based on what we've seen last year. They haven't got worse. They haven't lost anything really, and they've brought in Calamachi, plus development years into a couple of their younger players, Sid Draper, Dan Curtin, and then you also add in another year of experience with this list into Neil Bullen, James Peatling, and Isaac Cumming, who all joined the Crows from opposition teams at the beginning of last year. So I think it's a team list that should be improving. That doesn't mean they will necessarily get more wins in the home and away season. It's a long season. A lot of things have to go right, but they're shaping up really well. There's no doubt about that. They're definitely a team that should be playing finals this year and arguably should probably be finishing top 4. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of teams fighting for those positions, but based on everything I see, I would imagine they will be right up there again this year in 2026, as long as the end of 2025 hasn't completely ruined them, but I can't imagine why it would. So that's pretty much everything I've got for the Crows today. Don't forget to hit that follow button or subscribe even if you haven't already. Put on the noti bell so you don't miss any drops. We're dropping one of these pretty much most days of the week for the next 4 weeks until all 18 clubs are out. We do the podcast, which goes here on YouTube plus Spotify and Apple Podcasts every single week leading into the season. We'll be doing 2 a week once the season starts. Check out all the social medias. We've got Twitter, we've got TikTok. I know Twitter's not Twitter anymore. X, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. Follow on all of those to keep up to date. We're bringing a lot of content heading into the season, so make sure you go check it all out. Appreciate you for being here. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Who I've missed, who I've underrated, who I've overrated. Let me know down below. And I'll catch you next time you're here, hopefully, if you want to check out the other teams. Otherwise, the podcast or plenty of other content on the channel. So go check it all out. Appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the next one.